Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, before we begin, let us give a brief little review. In the last part, a number of events have happened. We had Bakugo and his group. Him, Kendo, and Nejire headed out. Bakugo, he knew if they were going to head out to Chizuki's bunker, they would need a large vehicle. And there are many problems with that. If they get a vehicle too large and pack everything up in one go, it could be seen as a higher target. But if they get a large truck, things can be more under the rug, under the radar. It might take a few trips back and forth, and that will be a hell of a lot of gas, but it will be easier on them. They're the only ones who know the location of this place, so it is highly secure. Shizuki locked the door behind him. He knows where it's at, and he knows where to find everything there. So, what they've got to do is get a vehicle that's big. Not a massive truck, but a big car. Now, while they were trying to look for one, they encountered a situation. There was one already on the shopping list, and whenever they went there, they saw a mammoth talking with another zombie. It was communicating, and Nejire saw somebody she never thought she'd see again. Sir Night-Eye. Sir Night-Eye was down there. There was the way he looked, the way he was dressed, just everything about him. It wasn't right. And after she went back into hiding, she realized a few things. He's the same zombie type as Mina. Whatever he is no longer human. And she bolted back to the truck, getting her group out of here fast, because this has the potential to be very fucking dangerous right now. They could all lose their lives. And while that was happening, there actually was at an undisclosed location where a door opened up and a man stepped back into the world. The world that he so adequately abandoned. Endeavor. A man alive and well. He abandoned his duty to save the members of his family he could. He saved his son Natsuo and Fuyumi. And he also managed to save a number of civilians, even other heroes and people from the Hero Association. However, it no longer matters. There's a lot going through his mind. The original plan was to stay down here for possibly 4 or 5 years and wait out whatever the hell is going on here. But that plan, it gets more and more tricky. Originally it was supposed to be 3, but after certain events that they've seen, it was theorized they should wait 5. But people, they got restless, and they didn't even make it to half of the original time. 15 months out of 36 originally. Earthquakes and seismic activity have been getting more active. And as far as they're aware, that wasn't factored into any plans. The bunker is already feared to be unstable. There are people maintaining it and making sure the levels don't collapse in on themselves. However, even then, that is still a major concern for people. One massive shift and this place can go down like a fucking what? Jenga set? That's the right word. Now, this is very bad. An Endeavor, he talked with son Natsuo about a few things, and somebody else came walking out of that bunker. Somebody who was quite happy to be back up in the land of the living and smelling the fresh air. And that was Lady Nagant. And with that being said, let us currently cut over to Bakugo and his group. A month has passed since this has happened. And that does mean it is the beginning of August. So, they need to figure this out. They went to that bunker with a vehicle they could, gathered what they could, and they began to make a bit more of a list. It's a little bit more concerning. They take the vehicles, go there, and come back. That's how it's been. But, so far the group, they have had Bakugo and Kendo mainly focused on this, while Nedre has been focusing on trying to keep everybody safe. And right now they're currently in Setsuna, who does so sit there this morning, with a lot going through her mind. Currently Nedre walking over and sitting down. As the vehicle containing Bakugo and Kendo, it does go to drive off. And Todoroki, he does just not stand there. Currently him on the roof, enjoying some coffee and watching that car drive off, as has done so every few days. He's got a lot going through his mind. Currently him gonna turn and stare at an MRE he has set there. He's aware that there's a lot that goes into making these things. But the moment other groups find out they might have something like this, it could be a disaster. This stuff is good for a few meals, but he can't imagine eating it all the time. They could try to hand out humanitarian aid, but people would abuse that. The military should be in charge of that too. They could try to team up with them, but those people hoard their resources. They're hard to get negotiations with. You have to have something they want. You have to have power. You have to have authority. And this, it does not concern him. And there currently is, well, Kendo and Bakugo are driving out. The two listening to a song as Kendo is driving. And Bakugo, he does have a pistol sitting on his lap, just in case anything does happen. Now, as this is actually happening, there is where Bakugo, he does his own sit there. Him turning to the thermos and going to pick it up before going to pour in some coffee. Him bringing it up to his lips and trying to take a sip. However, it is still pretty hot. Currently, him going to actually somewhat bring it away and turn. Kendo asking for a drink as he goes on turn, handing it off to her. Her looking at Bakugo and giving him a bit of a wink before going to actually turn back to the road and continue driving. Her at least trying to ask him how he's doing. That's a loaded question. How do you think I'm doing? I'm just trying to talk to you. Alright, babe? I know. I'm sorry. Everyone seems to think Nedre is a better leader than I am. She was a lot like him. Yeah. She followed him. I didn't. I'm trying to be him, but you can't be him. Like I've tried telling you before. Implement certain things you think are good. Take out what you thought was more extreme. But remember, we have to change to survive. I know. That's the part I don't like. He made it look so easy. He did. I know what's going through your head. Do you? Sorry. I know. You still miss him. There's a lot I miss. Him turning his head before looking out to see the sky. Currently, him seeing something flying through the air. And it does make Bakugo pause for a second. Him staring at that and actually going to bring his hand down onto the weapon, telling Kendo if she heard about the flying variant. I've heard a few things. Why? I think I just saw one. Think we should pull over? No, just... It might have just been... No, it could have just been the reflection or... Never mind. I'm gonna turn. And telling her. It could have just been something else. He isn't sure. Maybe he just wants to see something that is there. distract his mind. But seriously though, the car driving along, currently them making their way through the city, continuing this bit of back and forth, talking about how things are. And Bakugo, he has one idea that has gone through his head before. One idea that Kendo has talked about as well. There's a plan for me. One he wants to enact. But honestly, it's a little. It makes him look bad. It makes her look worse. People would think he talked her into it. And they'd be half right. But he wasn't the one who recommended it. Kendo likes these people. They've helped her. They've all been together since day one. But large groups are dangerous. And being connected to the city may not be a good idea. In more rural areas, there are still zombies. Just not as much. You don't see crazy variations. You don't see them as often. Yeah, there are occasional things they see out there, but nowhere near what there is to the city. The more people there are, the worse the infection seems to be. It's the same thing for the city that they're heading to. But that just means one thing. If all of them abandon the city, abandon their connection to this home, and go somewhere else, they could have a better life. Live out there, live off the grid, live off the land. It could mean a little bit more peace, a little less danger. But that's another thought. Currently us cutting back over to Nedre. And Nedre, she does wonder about a lot of things. Setsuna has expressed more of her own concerns, more of her own thoughts, and she can't blame her. She misses him too. They all do, in their own way. But these two, they miss him the same way. Someone who could be a leader they can follow, someone they can love, someone who can make them know the world it's fucked up, but they can be safe. They'll be kept safe. Nedre has a plan, and she does plan to enact it. Bakugo, he's had concerns about the military finding out about them poisoning their supply train. However, if they're not going that avenue, there is the avenue of the UA robots. Melissa and May, they've gone back and forth on it. They got information, and with power back on, if they head back to UA, if they make sure that place is safe, then maybe something can be done. Maybe a lot of things can be done. The concern, though, is Mina. And this does pass through Nedre's mind. There is a problem there. A quirk. Someone who can use their power. But Mina wasn't outright hostile. After Izuku left, after he was gone, she left. Did she go back to UA? Did she go back to the pit? Who knows? But they have to make a gamble, at least before winter. They need to bring one of those robots back to the manor. If they can show it off as a guard dog, then that does mean a bit. Make a programming, reprogram them, hell, do what they can there. If they have robots, if they have actual power, pull, and leeway, people will look to them for protection, not the military. The military might try to cut the power, but what would they do? They already have an army that's on a full battery. They have an army which is standing on their last leg. You don't tell me who you think is going to win. Because let me give you a guess, if not the actual answer. It won't be the ones who get sick, who run out of ammo, and who hide in the dam. There will be a lot of casualties, and Nedre knows there are civilians there. Families. There's a lot there. But they're on the wrong side. They might get caught in the crossfire. That's her one fear. She knows what they have because she has it too. They have families, friends, people that they're connected to. She will be damning the lives of God knows how many people if she sends a robot army after them. But those people will still keep bearing down pressure on everybody else's necks, weighing down their shoulders, throwing around authority until they have what they want. Belief in that authority. So what to do? That passed in Nedre's mind. Currently, her sitting in her room and going to have a drink. Her going to actually roll the throwing knives in her hands. Her with a lot passing through her head. And they're actually the next day. Bakugo and Kendo are out. They're probably out camping now. Probably away from the infected, not worrying so much about it. And now here she is, in charge and with the authority. Take command from Bakugo. Live up to Izuku's expectation. Protect her friend. Family. Setsuna and her are close. She'd practically call her a sister. Maybe. Same thing would apply for Momo, though. May and Melissa, those two are a bit more closed off. They like to lock themselves in the workshop, and the few times she does talk to Melissa, she's thinking or designing something. Or just eating. Huh. Can't blame her, though. Going outside is dangerous. And currently this does pass through her mind. Melissa is quirkless. The fact she's still alive is a miracle. All of them have that additional layer of protection. A quirk. It might have damned the world, but being bitten with a quirk means you're still alive. You don't turn immediately, let alone fast. It's a candle effect. It burns slowly. It'll take a lot of time. So there is that. And currently, this is where Nedre is going to actually walk up and open the door. Currently, her walking in and seeing May, turning her hand and staring at a few things, before going to hook it up and then going to turn. Currently, her holding up something on her shoulder, talking about it. Hey, what's up? I need to talk to you about something. Where's Melissa? Oh, she was working all night on this project of mine. So what is it? Need some help? Need a piece of gear? I've been working on a few things. Her gonna turn. Her setting down the gun as we're gonna fire the grappling hook and it will gonna shoot out. Currently it firing directly into and smashing into the wall. Before it will gonna roll off of the table. And there actually Nedre would turn her head, staring at that. Okay. That wasn't supposed to happen. Okay, I might need to tighten a few pieces. But what is it? Something wrong? A few things. Listen, Melissa, has she ever talked about the robot project? Oh, yeah, she's been working on a code, and as far as I know, she does still mess with it, but going to UA is still out of the whole projections for her. Right. But if we can get to UA and make sure it's safe, would she be willing to go? Maybe. But that's a whole other story. Now, while this is currently happening, let us cut over to inside the city. Right now, there actually is a vehicle driving through, a large truck, and there are people sitting on it. They've looked at a few things. They've had drones fly over and scans of the area. And seeing how messed up this place has become, it's been bad. They sent a drone out to see what they could find, see what happened to the world. And, sweet mother of God, what they saw was more than what they bargained for. They saw monsters, creatures that looked human. And there was even the time they thought they actually saw humans. People who were still alive, but they were just messed up. Messed up in ways they don't even want to begin to describe. The depravity of it all, the lack of just compassion some of these people showed off, it horrified them. And currently there actually is on the back of that transport. Lady Nagant does sit there, her with a rifle with a short scope on it. She could hit anything from a pretty good damn distance, though she does also have a longer scope, currently a pouch in her belt. There is Natsuo. Natsuo, he does sit there, him with a rifle. There's a few other people here, but then there also is Endeavor. Endeavor, he does stand there, currently him on the front transport, and holding up a massive weapon. They're heading through heavy streets, places that are littered with the infected, but they are trying to get to the radio station. They have a plan, and if they do see some of those other things, the man here, he himself will make sure they go down. They're turned to Swiss cheese. They tried contacting the military. They found nothing. They went to the base that's a few 100 miles away, and that it still turned up nothing. That place was left to rot. That place was left to the elements. Nobody was left. There was just a large creature there. They took care of it, but it was still disturbing. Especially the way it talked. Like it was one of them still. And this, it does pass through Endeavor's mind. It's a morbid thought going through his head. But if Shoto and Rei are still alive, he hopes they're human. If they're gone, he hopes they went fast, went easy. They didn't become one of the monsters. He wouldn't want to see that. See the psychotic looking... Oh, God. It passed into Endeavor's head. Currently, him going to actually set the gun down carefully. Him going to stretch his shoulder and move his arm a bit. Because right now his arm feels a bit stiff holding the massive weapon. Now, with that being said, let's cut over to Bakugo and Kendo. The two, they currently were sitting out under a highway. They were far out into the countryside. And this was a nice place to hide. A nice little place to camp. They already set up a few things. They didn't have a fire, but they had each other. Being out here, surviving like this, having a bit more of a routine, it's nice, easy. Honestly, with some good scavenging, they could put their plan into place. Find that big truck, maybe find a trailer and just pick a direction and go. Fill up on as much gas as they can, and when the gas tank hits empty, just set up shop. It's not a bad idea, but at the same time, it's just abandoning everything after all this. He couldn't bring himself to do it. He can't just do that. It going through Bakugo's head. This being one of the thoughts that kept him up at night, as Kendo laid there holding on to him, and he held on to her. He wants to do more. He wants to save people, still be that good person he was. He's taken life, but it's just different now. And currently, there actually is with the two, they packed up things and headed out. Currently, them driving for a few hours and getting into the city. Currently, them pulling up to the location and Bakugo walking over. Currently, him opening the door quickly and going to turn, shoving the key back into his pocket as he's going to pull his knife. Currently, him stepping forwards and stabbing in the head of one of the zombies. Before he would go to actually open the gate and then going to turn. Him going to stab into the head of another zombie and push it backwards. Currently, Kendo driving the vehicle in as Bakugo, he'll get a turn. Him going to actually step backwards and grab onto the gate. Him beginning to slide it close as whenever it does a click, he does a step backwards. Him going to wait and turn. Currently the vehicle being turned off as the two make their way inside quickly. That was a lot of noise. And the vehicle, it's parked out of sight on the gate. Them walking past a few corpses that do litter the surrounding area. And they do head into the building. Currently them making their way into the underground base. And Kendo does have a lot going through her mind. When the lights do come back on, there is that immediate thought in her head. Secure the area. Make sure not to step too fast around corners. Listen. Be on guard. However, they've been here before. This place is completely safe, completely secure. And it only has them. It's their own little Eden right now. A place of pure safety. And that word, pure, in this world, it seems so unrealistic. Then again, she's seen people throw cars through the air with their mind. She's seen people light fires through their hands. Her hands can grow to the size of... It's just... It's weird to think about. Especially now. And there actually is Bakugo, who currently does begin a walk through the facility. Kind of with a lot passing through her own mind. A lot going through her own head. They'll load up the vehicle. They'll pack up crates, pack up a few other things, and maybe even take some weapons. This place is a pretty good armory. They have some good gear, but not heavy equipment. The guy clearly never expected to need it, but he was wrong. And this is one of the concerns that Kendo does currently have. Right now, her walking the facility and trying to understand this place is safe, it still unnerves her. And with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed. And have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.